the story behind the brand new phase, brand new everything, but it's really, 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 really old. You don't understand. Okay, so this is all about, how I felt when freshman year of flight school first began, because if you guys didn't know, here's how my story goes, literally. I earned J-League in junior high. I got cop-blocked all the way through high school, all the way until I was 19. 20 is when I started to get girls' approval keys. I got laid at 21. Then I ended up for a group home, and literally, I didn't get my first job until I was 22. And before I got my first job, society constantly, criticized me. Even though I had tons of appraisal on Instagram, I was 22, literally, I can get any car I wanted, but all my friends had college degrees, cars, and houses, literally. And they kept on making fun of me because literally all my friends had way more luxury and like literally were way more independent. And I was at a group home, they were still laughing at me. I was still in the position of special ed, even though like literally I was an Instagram superstar, and it really, really pissed me off. But then I figured out later in life that literally the reason why they have like solid concrete on Instagram is because they pay for followers, and I know that. I know like literally how the industry works in and out, and I wasn't willing to punch down. I know punching down is how a lot of people get famous and how a lot of people get their gigs. I know a whole lot of shit, man. I know a whole lot about Photoshop. Literally, I worked with somebody who was famous on Instagram who I called out for like literally buying followers and shit like that. He's like, what? And stuff like that. I'm like, bro, that shit don't even look like you. Yeah, I know how I be hood, but like literally, I grew out of that shit over time. But it really, 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 really pissed me off because really, the beginning of the year, that freshman year of high school, I was criticized for a whole year for not having a job, but it wasn't, criticism enough to like get in the way of my fame. Like literally, it was heavy criticism because I was so relatable. I put Neff DeFaro as Yugi Moto, like literally, and I still have Raven on Raven going on, like literally, but I was always challenged by society. Oh yeah, well, you can do these flashy tricks and stuff like that, but can you be responsible and shit like that? That's what literally society was saying about me this whole time. It's like, yeah, you can do this, this, and that, but this is all involved in a cartoon, and this is why you still don't have a job and stuff like that. Society was tearing my ass apart, like literally, where it came to morals, but it didn't stop me from being happy, and that's what matters overall. You gotta realize that over time. And then I took my time that I realized that people get all their jobs and connections and shit, and literally, I told society to kiss my ass because they put this illusion over my head that life is fair where it's not. Life is what you make it to be, yet you're not in control of 99.9 of the decisions you make in life. Like literally, you're not in control of your life like they tell you. Like literally, life is what you make it to be. Bullshit. And I'm gonna tell you why they're truly criticizing me. They're criticizing me not because literally I was, neglecting fame, because in actuality, like, you don't want to get a job when you're young, because when you're young and you get jobs, all you gotta do is like go to contracts and buy like stupid shit instead of like raising funds for housing. That's why they compare me to so many people who already had connections instead of people who are actually living life. I realized so many fucking people on the inside literally having jobs, having girls and stuff like that, just because of their status, not because who they are as a person. I can tell by the chemistry that they wish that literally they can be as happy as me. They're with a relationship just to be content, just to literally get by. I was stuck with no one. I was stuck with absolutely no one. I can see a chemistry. The devil told me in my head, he's like, well, you know the full story, so it's all good. And God stayed silent, and I can tell that God was agreeing with me at the vibe. Like literally, I knew what the inside was, but I didn't change my situation. You know what I had to do? I had to make sure I changed my situation so I could actually, talk proper shit on paper. I was always able to talk proper shit in real life, but on paper it's a completely different story. Because, then I realized later on that gangsters take over corporate offices and shit, and that paper doesn't even fucking matter anymore. That paper can really be subjective. I guarantee it, paper only matters if the business is still active and the business is still successful. If the business has been proven wrong over and over and over again, the paper doesn't matter. I learned that over time. You can't flex a trophy of a sport that's now labeled illegal, literally, and think you're the shit. You can't, like, literally, fucking, that's the thing about literally. So what happened was this, like, it was the beginning of the year, I was watching Boruto for a very, first time. I was in the first 8 episodes of Boruto. I had a kid, literally, right around when Boruto came out, like, literally, it wasn't even like I was living through it. I'm like, okay, so now I'm literally fucking, I'm in sync with fucking Boruto. So what happened was this, like literally, I was still in the same position. I was mad because I didn't have a job. Uncle Jay was clowning on me, this and that. Even though I knew I could get more bitches, even though my personal life was better, I was striving to be on the other side to see how it was like to get a job. So this is the same year I got a job. This is the same year I realized that they're peer pressuring me for no reason, because what they wanted me to do is they wanted me to be a rapper on paper but get in trouble like all the other rappers, because I had a pattern. What was going on is I was getting blocked by girls on Snapchat, but they were in denial. When they were blocking the rappers that I was working for, they weren't in denial. But here's the thing about girls I learned over time. This is the reason why I started to like listen to people like Joy Boy, you know, Swag Kage, Geekdom 101. What I want to do is, after I learned how to fuck women, I'm like, dude, this is like easy. This is way easier than actually competing in the ARL like Lily. This is way easier than like actually competing in like an actual sport, because something I learned about life. Lily, you can cheat with girls, but you can't cheat when it comes to profession. You can't. Like, Lily, there's a shortcut you can take with girls. There's no shortcut you can get at your job. There's no shortcut you can get at a profession. You can seduce a girl to get what you want out of her. You can't seduce your boss. And that is literally what I learned over time. It's way, way, way more difficult, because girls are being impressed by flashy things where literally freaking people on paper, like judges and critics, are gonna base you off performance. So we don't care what your personal life is, this like that. Like, literally, that is the difference between girls and real life. So I strive to be like Swag Kage. If you ever watched my last analytical anime videos, that was all the training I was. But there was multiple things holding me back in the group. I wanted to be just like Swag Kage. I wanted to be episode reviews of animes that I was currently up to date from. But there was multiple things holding me back. Like, I didn't have a professional camera. I didn't have a professional microphone. There's a lot of things holding me back from being at their level. I was really, really jealous of how literally they conducted their sentences, literally how they talked about anime, how they talked into so much detail. And like, people thought it was boring. I'm like, this is what I want to be. I want to be just like Swag Kage. I want to be just like Geekdom 101. I'm tired of girls. This is way more challenging. I want to say facts about Dragon Ball that nobody has ever heard before. Like, I want to be just like them. Like, literally, that's what I want to be. I want to actually compete, because you can't cheat in sports, but you can cheat with girls. And I learned that over time. The reason why I have to state this importance is because the whole point of this story behind this is when the media was really, really desperate for me to get something on paper, because they wanted me to get in trouble with sexual harassment. They were setting me up. What they did was they created a Netflix show for me before we even had Atypical. It was just one Netflix show. But they planted the seed. They're like, well, we're willing to work with you if you actually get in trouble for the girls that you got blocked on Snapchat for, instead of making their pussy wet, instead of calling them out for being good. Now we want you to be like the rappers who get blocked on them over and over again. What was happening is, literally, I got blocked with less than 10 accounts, and they got blocked like over 20 fucking 30 accounts, literally freaking way more. Even trying to sexually harass them in real life, fucking hacking the HTML code and shit, like literally trying to grab them after their show and shit. That was the dilemma. It wasn't me, because I was a good person. I was fucking like, I was like Kid Goku, you know? There was no care in the fucking world, like, literally, and they took advantage of that. Fucking the ARL, fucking those rappers, they took advantage of the fact that I wasn't going all out to get the car for them. But why should I? They were ratchet. They literally, I pulled them. That's by Lily sending them a dick pic. And Lily, I was saying yes or no. Lily, that's what I was doing to each and every one of them. And then they tried to put standards on me. I'm like, nope. And then guess what? They kept on messaging me like Lily do street code. Mood, with the cleavage taking out mood. I'm in such a mood right now. Mood, quirking, mood, this and that, like that. Lily, texting mood, everything after they blocked me on Snapchat. And literally, so what they wanted me to do is they wanted me to be like the rappers that I was working for and actually get in trouble for them. That's why they wanted me to get on paper. That's why they told me to get a job and stuff like that. If I was actually, you know, a celebrity on paper, what they can say is that I'm living the oxymoron where I'm not. I was training to be famous, which is way fucking better than, you know, just signing a contract without reading it. That's what they wanted me to do. And it really, really fucking sucks. So this was a Netflix show that they created way back in the day for me, but once you realize real life, like Lily, that is bullshit. You know why? They used to call me a child back when I was with the group home. Even though I was famous for all these amazing A and B concepts, they saw me dancing in real life. They saw me literally dancing on the street, not having a job, and they're like, why aren't you competing in society? And I'm like, they kept on calling me a child. I'm like, what about dancing makes me a child? It's good self-relief. It's good, really, release the soul. It's like this and that. It's because it's not contributing to society. But society treated me like shit their entire life. They told me, oh, get it together. You already know you can get a girl now. Lily, there's no reason why you can't get a job. If you can get a girl, you can get a job. But they're way too different criteria. Lily, they kept on calling me lazy. Oh, you know what's going on. Like, Lily, that's why you literally used to seduce girls. Like, you're not willing to get the car. You're not willing to compete with other guys and shit. And Lily, this and that. Like, Lily, and it was infuriating me over time. Like, Lily, but when I finally got a job, Lily, my mom asked me, oh, I know you let that money coming in. And I'm like, it was the same. Because I had no friends. And Lily, that's what I'm telling you. Lily, this is really what people focus on in real life. I got a job for the very first time in my life, literally, with no temp agency, with no fucking connection, literally, freaking, I got a job, literally, and I felt exactly the same because I had no friends. I'm sorry, that outweighs the job because you have to understand, it's your personal life is what makes life better and stuff like that. And when people disregard your personal life and say get to work, oh man, that shit is horrible. But you have to understand that is not fair, and they know that's not fair. That means that's not the right job for you. But literally, I took it as money, and you know, there's a whole lot more things in life that are more important than money, like your mental health. Literally, fucking love is way more important than money, all that. So where am I getting at this? Why is this a story behind? Because this is literally why I fucking was infuriated, because they kept on comparing me, and then I realized the whole time that I could have had the connections to girls, I could have had the connections to this and that people cockblock me for not only girls but opportunities too, because you realize that you can get a whole lot of opportunities from girls in real life, because girls guarantee a bigger social circle. And there was this girl, Andrea, that was here at the end of 8th grade year, that literally, that was all over me. Literally, that girl was all over me, like literally, it was a tall black girl, and then I realized that half those girls were reserved for me. That there was a gangster mob that was fighting against the 8th grade mob, that literally, I realized that there were certain girls that were reserved for me that were actually put there, and that I was a key point of California in Tinsler, and that literally, I was always supposed to get those girls, but they were going against the Grandmaster's code. So I realized that it wasn't my fault. Everybody that was telling me to be gangster was fighting a gangster that was trying to keep me a square. A bigger gangster, by the way. And I realized that over time. So what happened was this, like, you know how I love colors in my AMVs, how I always pick colorful like colorful animes in my AMVs. Like, so I was watching Boruto. I'm watching, like, literally, when they're going to the Mist Village and stuff like that. And I see all the colors. I see Sumire, I see fucking Sabura, I see Mizuki. I'm like, well, this really reminds me of junior high, and like, God's in my head, like, yeah, well, you know, we haven't really advanced that much as a society. So what happened was this, and literally, I was watching Boruto and shit, I'm like, man, this feels a whole lot like when I was in junior high and stuff like that, like, literally, it's been so fucking long, it's when I lost my virginity, it's when I conquered justice, it's when I graduated high school, but like, literally, I was still doubting because, literally, I was still in the same situation. And that's the thing about a fucking grown man, but it's that I wasn't like, literally, I wasn't so sucked into the fucking show that I forgot about my position in life. And literally, I looked at that shit, I'm like, man, this fucking sucks. So what happened was this. I decided to make the best out of the situation. I started to replay a fucking song from freshman year, and it's New Boys, New Girl. So what happened was this. I made a Boruto AMV I'm going to, like, to play, and literally, that is literally where they got the idea of New Girl. So like, literally, because the message behind this, story behind, is that this is nothing brand new. Do you know what happened when I dropped that Lamaya video, when I told everybody that I was getting with Lamaya? People could call me schizophrenic, people could call me this and that because I haven't posted a picture of her. Like, literally, there were so many angles back in the day, back when people had, like, literally connections, back when people were confident, back when people literally had everything going their way, where they could have called it out, where they could have clouded me, ha ha ha, this and that, like, literally, this and that, and I'd have to actually prove it. Now I don't have to prove it because of my fame and shit like that, but you know, what truly made me this is like, stop acting brand new. That is the meaning behind this. He could have fucked in junior high, he could have had connection in junior high, he could have had this and that, he could have had connections to girls that were diamond jobs if you would have let him have play in high school, if you would have let him do this and that, if you didn't cop like him, you didn't make him live up to an unrealistic standard, like he could have been had a job, he could have been had this and that, because we all know it's not always about what you know, especially in my predicament, it's about who you know. When I dropped that Lamaya video, when I dropped that Single Again video, do you know, like, literally recently, a few weeks ago, what inspired me to talk about Lamaya? Like, hey, you've been talking about Lamaya on the chat, because I'm really surprised that people didn't make me go into detail about how I got with her, because that's what they used to do back in the day, but now they didn't question my fame now, and that pisses me off more than me actually getting her, because it used to be a challenge, it used to be this, that, oh, you were talking all that shit, now literally it's fucking easy. They used to literally, oh, what's the evidence? I didn't see a picture with you and her and this and that, like, literally, I'm used to literally things like that, and literally me getting those with ease like this and that really pissed me off, but that's the whole problem. It's not like she was gonna deny me when we got older anyway. Literally, it's not like literally when we got older we weren't going to fuck. It's like it's not like when we got older like this wasn't gonna happen. Like literally this and that. So guess what happened? Literally when I dropped that fucking video, I heard that people literally were going on rampages, because the whole reason why she moved was because she was tired of dealing with the guys from junior high and she didn't want to get raped. So guess what happened when I dropped that Lamaya video? Literally freaking when I started speaking on her again in videos, guess what happened? Like, Lily, her little sister came up to me, Lily. I was walking down the street and I walked into her little sister, Lily. Her little sister named Crystal, Lily, said what's up to me. She nodded her head, what's up to me, Lily. When I said, Lily, that I was gay with her and shit like that, she didn't deny it, she didn't do anything. And she looked at me like, oh, what's up, Lily? Her little sister went up to me like, oh, it's not a coincidence. Like, Lily, this little ass kids are more understanding than these gangsters, I'm telling you. Like, Lily, she went up to me and she nodded her head like, yo, what's up? Like, this and that, like, Lily. Fucking this and that, like, Lily. And she was doing it to fool the enemy. She was doing that for incognito. She was doing that because she looked at me. She's like, yeah, no, duh. He has green eyes and stuff like that. Even though little kids come out to that shit, this is the whole meaning of the story behind this. Because it's unrealistic standards. Because the stupid ass mentality. You see how, like, back in the day, they curved ass for feet on top of feet, on top of evidence, but they didn't act because I was famous? That's what pisses me off, you know? And stuff like that. So her little sister came up to me. She's like, yeah, you got with her? Yeah, but that ain't shit because they should already expect you to get with her. Look how perfect you two look as a couple. Look how this and that, Lily. All dramatic shit aside of Lily, this was always supposed to happen. Like, Lily, this was always like you don't understand. Like, this is fucking horrible. Like, Lily, your perspective of life is literally treacherous. Like, Lily, those little kids, Lily, told me what's up. Like, yeah, he got with Lamaya, Lily, fucking Lily. Her little sister nodded her head to me, and that's what made me do this story behind. Like, Lily, she walked up like, yeah. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, Lily, no surprise whatsoever. But guess what? She still had to stay in the same position just like me. She was protecting her even smaller sister not to get raped. Like, Lily, they were up to me telling me, yo, we have to do this incognito. So, like, Lily, they were up to me like, oh, no, you did get with Lamaya. But then she nodded in my head, yeah, you did get with Lamaya. Lily, she did that specifically for you guys to say, yo, this is a no-brainer. Of course she got with him. He's sexy as fuck. What is wrong with you people? And that is the whole purpose of the story behind. That's why it's called Brand New. So this is an A&B of an idea I had since freshman year, ever since the beginning of the year, literally. What happened was this, so literally freaking, I made this A&B, and then they came out with the Netflix show New Girl. Like, you know how that shit's hella old? That shit came out the same week of my fucking A&B. And they did that, and that's why it's such a bullshit ass show. Like, literally freaking everybody had that tune stuck in their head. Nah, you could be my new girl. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. And literally this is that was back when I used to love music and shit. Like, literally, so I dropped that shit. Like, literally, you about to watch that shit. But afterwards, you're gonna realize, yo, this is beautiful. But then once you see New Girl, and you're gonna see how different it is from this A&B, but why they made it in an office is the same reason why they try to get me caught up. This is the meaning behind the story behind it's Brand New. The real reason why I started is not just because of Lamaya, it's because so many girls were reserved for me by a higher gangster mob, but they were all unfunctional because of Lily. The lower tiers, like Lily, tried to control shit, and Lily, oh my god, like Lily, I realized that when I was older, that I was always protected by the Bay Area, that I was always loved by, you know, the elder veterans, that I was always being evaluated if I wanted to be famous. So it was up to me ever since I was young to put in the work to be famous. Like, Lily, you don't understand, like, Lily, and that is the whole meaning behind it. So this is the A&B of the story behind it, and right afterwards, like, Lily, going to post a picture of New Girl, like, obviously, so you know about Lily. This is the Netflix song New Girl. This, I don't even want credit for this shit. You gotta know, because this is the fucking illusion. Like, this is the why I feel like this Netflix show is laying just by a trailer. Oh, don't judge the book by its cover. Like, nigga, fuck that shit. You made a New Girl show out of nowhere after I dropped this A&B, specifically so I can get it on paper, specifically so I wouldn't have the freedom that I did at the group home. Like, literally, I had enough of this shit. So this is the story behind Brand New.
Man, you could be my new girl. Say you could be my new boy. To keep it 100, I'm ready for the next chick. My soon-to-be ex-chick about to hit the exit, and right after she leave, I leave the key under the mat. When you feeling kinda lonely, you be free to come and chat. Know you heard them effing rumors like I beat then leave, but straight drop, that's just gossip. TMZ, guess the principle is I don't give no referrals. Check into my district, you could be the new girl. Hey, I had so many girls that fade away in my past. It's safe to say I lied, but I think that changed today. If anything, give a major way. You could be my new girl. You could be my new girl. You could be my new girl. Out with the old and in with the new girl. I
I guess I seen the beauty of my life, cause she was a beast, the typical freak. She made it with me. How did she end up being caught up all in my world? Cause now I just imagine, baby, you can be my new girl. No jokes, no games, I'm feeling you a whole lot. I ran into you with no turns, it was a roadblock. Thinking to myself, I had one of them past that didn't last. A chick with no class, it was so bad. Damn, and now we in 2009, and I'm trying to make you my summer girl. You got a dope mind. Let's go to Texas, Arkansas, Arizona. We can go to Michigan or live life in California, my new girl.
I had so many girls that fade away in my past that I don't think it's safe to say I lied, but I think that changed today. You made me think in a major way. You could be my new girl. You could be my new girl. You could be my new girl. Out with the old and in with the new girl.
Every time I look into your eyes, I wanna feel fireworks on my insides. You be here for me when I don't know what to do. I need a new girl. I need a girl to give me some good loving, cause I'm known as McLovin'. I need a girl that's fresh and fly. We can stay together through the end of time.
So many girls that fade away in my past.
I don't think it's safe to say. You made me think in a major way. Sugar, be my new darling. You can be my new girl.
You could be my new girl.
Yeah. Hey, hey. Said I'm looking for